Oh, I love it when God and the devil bargain and play games over the fate of humanity. Doesn't that make Christianity just seem awesome to you? Faust, released in 1926 and is directed by F.W. Murnau, who is also behind such films like Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, Four Devils, City Girl, and Taboo, A Story of the South Seas. And please excuse the pronunciation, but I do need to read through the cast list, so this film is starring Gösta Ekman, Camilla Horn, Wilhelm Dieter, Frieda Richard, and Yvette Gilbert. And all of my German subscribers and commenters are always so nice and polite to me, so I'm sure all of you are going to take it easy on me, please, dear, for the love of God. Or should I say, for the love of Mephisto. And the reason why I'm taking a look at this film that is almost 100 years old is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my longtime subscribers. She has given me a lot of recommendations and donations on this channel, formerly Autumn Blood, now known as Name the Stars. Thank you so much for this recommendation. I like getting these recommendations of these very old films. This film was released in 1926, so it's, math, that's what, 96-year-old film, right? It's almost a century old, and a lot of the visual effects, a lot of the storytelling, the story just in general, still holds up surprisingly. The devil and an archangel make a bet that if the devil is able to corrupt a very righteous man named Faust, then the devil would have dominion over all of the earth. So the devil sends plague and famine to all of the world, while Faust, who is an elderly alchemist, watches on in horror and wishing that he could help everyone. Finally, the devil comes to Faust and makes a deal with him that he would grant him all of the power and be his servant as long as Faust would be loyal to him. So Faust gains all of the powers and pleasures from the devil and tries to make a world a better place, but the world rejects him when they find out that he is working for the devil. And through all of this, Faust meets a lovely young woman who he falls in love with, but the devil does his devilish things and makes their life a living hell. Yeah, it's a pretty good summary as to what the devil does to Faust when Faust finds the love of his life. Devil kind of comes in and goes like, yeah, so you love her? Now let me torture you both. You want children together? Okay, let me kill the children. Oh, you have an external family, you have an aunt, you have a mother? Okay, let me kill them. Now, I know this tale of Faust has been told over many centuries. This film is hailed as a German folktale. I don't know if that's absolutely true, if that's where this folktale originated from. For the purposes of this review, I'm going to believe that. And I know that this tale has been adapted into several different other films and novels and plays, but I've never seen or heard of the tale before. However, I'm pretty sure I've heard the lessons of this folktale, like when I was like hardcore Christian and I went to church when I was a youngling. I remember hearing stories about how, the God and the devil make a wager on who would have dominion over earth, and then Jesus was born and all sins were forgiven and shit like that. Isn't there a story in the Bible, Job was a very devout Christian, and then God and the devil were like, haha, well, I'll corrupt him, and when he's corrupted, it'll prove that love for you, God, doesn't exist. And then they, tortured Job, gave him, sores, and killed all of his family, and killed all of his crops, and took everything away from him, even though he was a devout Christian. But still, Job praised the Lord, therefore, everything's okay, and God is awesome, even though, after I just shout out that tale, I'm like, God, you're a piece of shit for doing that, I'm sorry. I mean, just look at the world that we're living in with all of the wars and disease and hatred that we see all throughout the world, all because it's all God's vision and God's will. See, this is why I'm not religious anymore, and I don't belong to any religion anymore. It's because of shit like that. God will allow wars to happen, and racism to happen, and slavery to happen, and disease to little babies, and little children, cancer to little children, and little babies. He'll allow that, but he loves you. And that's really the message of this movie. When we get to the climax, when the tragedy happens to Faust and Gretchen, the devil's like, haha, I won because I corrupted this person. And yes, the devil does corrupt him, but apparently the archangel comes in and says, nope, because of love, I win. Bullshit! I'm sorry, but the wager was the devil, who's called Mephisto, so for those Marvel fans out there who keeps thinking that Mephisto is the next MCU villain, well, here he was. He appeared in 1926, so Mephisto's already happened. But the wager was for Mephisto to corrupt this devout, religious man, and Mephisto definitely corrupts the man. You don't automatically win Archangel because he fell in love. That's bullshit. He was still corrupt. You could love something and still be corrupt, man. Come on. I love how I'm ranting about this movie that's almost 100 years old. That's great. But really, this movie is known for its special effects. This was 1926, so this was the era of these silent films, so we would have the orchestra playing. It's composed by Werner Richard Heyman. It feels very epic and very gothic, and a lot of the camera tricks and visual effects that they use here still hold up today. The transparency and transposing a couple of other film frames on top of other film frames to make it seem like they're all one shot is really awesome. And the performances that we get here, it's the silent era, so everything is big. You have to tell a story with your facial reactions and your body. Everything is over amplified and done in a very melodramatic fashion. Probably the biggest standout of this is Emil Jannings, who plays Mephisto, the devil in this film. I would assume that Dr. Seuss watched this movie before he crafted How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Just looking at Emil's facial reactions and his smiles, his devilish smiles, went right into the Grinch cartoon and right into the Grinch animation in the book. You can tell he's having the most fun out of everyone, and his performance is very lovable. I don't like how he makes himself younger when he makes Mephisto younger, when he gives him his youth back. Then he turns himself into literally Count Dracula, and he looks ridiculous. I like him when he's the older, creepier version of Mephisto. Actually, there are some points where he's really, really creepy. If you are a lover of film, if you're a lover of like the history of cinema, I think that this film is a must-view. If you're looking for strong moral stories, I don't think you're gonna find that here. I mean, other than like if you're one of those people that's like, oh, love will conquer everything, and God, I love God, so everything's gonna be fine because I love God, then you're probably gonna like this movie. For me personally, I saw that at the very end, I'm like, bullshit, the devil won, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying that to upset the Christians and get all those comments from you guys. But it's a very impressive film that still holds up today, and I just like going back and watching these classic films to allow me the chance of seeing like where cinema, where film got its beginning. And this is one of the first chapters of film, especially in the silent era. It makes me very happy. I'm gonna give Faust 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen Faust, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.